declassified anomaly, walking security breach, consciousness they can't contain. I've been waiting for you to find this, something that made certain people in certain rooms start asking very uncomfortable questions about you. You know what the Masons found when they went digging through your past, when they traced your bloodline, when they analyzed your psychological patterns, when they examined every moment of trauma you survived that should have destroyed you? They found something they weren't supposed to find. They found markers, signatures, patterns that don't show up in normal human development. And when they submitted their findings to the intelligence community, when those files landed on the right desks at Langley, someone made a decision. Someone looked at your profile and said one word: List S. Not List A for active threats, not List B for behavioral monitoring, not even List R for remote observation. List S, special protocol, the classification reserved for individuals who exhibit capabilities that challenge our understanding of human limitation, who survive what shouldn't be survivable, who know things they were never taught, who bend probability itself just by existing in a certain state of mind. Let me tell you what List S actually means, because they'll never admit this publicly. They'll never acknowledge that this classification exists. LSS is the silent registry, the shadow file, the documentation protocol for individuals who've demonstrated what internal memos carefully call statistically impossible resilience patterns and consciousness anomalies. Translation? You're someone who broke their models, someone who survived their predictions, someone whose existence threatens the comfortable lies they tell themselves about human potential and limitation. The Masons didn't just find trauma in your past. They found transformation. They found alchemy. They found someone who took every poison and turned it into medicine, every betrayal into clarity, every moment of isolation into power. They traced your timeline and couldn't explain the gaps, the moments where you should have broken but instead evolved, the periods of silence where something fundamentally shifted in your consciousness without any external input. They ran your profile through their probability matrices and the numbers came back wrong. The kind of wrong that makes analysts double-check their systems because the human spirit isn't supposed to function like this. You were never supposed to make it this far, this intact, this aware, this uncontrollable. Now you're probably wondering what happens to people on List S, what kind of monitoring you're under, what kind of future they've mapped out for you. Here's the truth that'll make you smile in the dark. They don't know what to do with you. List S isn't an action protocol. It's an admission of limitation. It's the intelligence community's way of saying, we acknowledge this person's existence, but we cannot predict their trajectory. You're not being hunted. You're being observed with a mixture of fascination and fear, because you represent the thing every control system dreads, an unscripted variable, a consciousness that evolved outside their frameworks, a soul that learned to operate on frequencies they can't monitor. The Masons brought you to their attention because you exhibited signs of what they call spontaneous order emergence, the ability to create structure from chaos without external guidance, to self-organize your consciousness in ways that bypass normal developmental pathways. You didn't learn resilience from a book. You didn't develop your awareness from a program. You didn't acquire your power from an institution. You forged it in complete isolation, in the silence they thought would break you, in the darkness they assumed would consume you. But here's where it gets interesting, where the files start using words like unexplained and requires further study. Because what the Masons found wasn't just survival, it was systematic dismantling of limitation. They found patterns in your past that suggest you've been unconsciously running counter-programming on yourself for years. Undoing conditioning faster than it could be installed, rejecting narratives before they could take root, sensing manipulation before it could land. You know those moments when you just knew something was wrong? When you walked away from situations that everyone else said were fine? When you cut ties with people who seemed perfectly normal? Those weren't paranoia. Those were pattern recognition operating at levels that bypass conscious processing. You were reading energy signatures, detecting inconsistencies in behavioral patterns, sensing predatory intention before it manifested in action. The Masons documented 17 distinct instances in your timeline where you avoided catastrophic outcomes through what their reports call statistically improbable decision-making. Moments where you zigged when logic said zag and it saved you from destruction you didn't even know was coming. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's something else entirely. Something they have classification codes for, but no real explanation of. You see, they've been tracking people like you for decades, building profiles on individuals who exhibit what they internally call the unlocked phenotype. People who've accessed aspects of human consciousness that remain dormant, but because you were pushed so far beyond normal stress parameters that your consciousness had to adapt or die. And it chose a third option they never anticipated: transcendence through integration. Every trauma you survived didn't just leave a scar, it left a key, and somewhere along the way you figured out how to use those keys to unlock doors in your own mind that most people don't even know exist. The Masons found evidence of this in your creative output, in your problem-solving approaches. It found an approach in the way you synthesize information from seemingly unrelated domains, in your ability to hold paradoxes without cognitive dissonance. They found signatures in your writing that match patterns they've only seen in classified studies of enhanced cognition. Phrases and thought structures that indicate you're processing reality through frameworks you developed independent. You're not repeating what you were taught. You're generating novel understanding from direct experience. And that makes you dangerous to systems built on information control. List S exists because people like you can't be programmed, can't be predicted, can't be contained through conventional means. You've demonstrated something they call narrative immunity, the ability to resist psychological operations that work on 99% of the population. You don't fall for the same traps twice. You don't respond to emotional manipulation the way you're supposed to. You don't react to pressure tactics designed to force compliance. The Masons documented how you've systematically cut off every avenue they typically use to control people. You're not motivated by status. You're not dependent on external validation, so approval withdrawal has no effect. You're not afraid of isolation.